Good, glorious morning, everyone. So, I'm in one of my favorite places, and I wanted to share with you for a moment, just a moment. That means 5 or 10 minutes. Um, I want to elaborate a little bit more about healing. It's definitely possible. I'm going to turn around so you can see my favorite place. Okay, this is Aptos, and of course, I'm on the beach. So that's why I'm looking like this. I'm not worrying about any makeup or I've got beach hair. So that's where I'm at. Okay. So right on to what I want to talk to you about today. When I say healing is possible, I now want to change that to healing is most definitely available. One of the things we need to focus upon when we're dealing with healing, and this being one of my favorite healing places for me personally, being out to nature. And as we are out to nature, with the exception of having my cell phone to use as a video recorder, um, there's nothing standing between me and what I call God or source energy or universe. You call it how you want to. For me, the term God and love are the same. So, God is love, love is God. If we abide in love, and love abides in us, there are many, many promises in the scriptures that that refer to that. I think one of them. I'll just paraphrase it. I'll just glorify it. Okay? If you abide in love and love abides in you, you can ask and it is given. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will indubitably and definitely be open to you. So let's talk about that for a moment in the issue regarding health. Let's say you're believing for perfect health, but you have one particular issue that you're dealing with. And 9 times out of 10, for most of us, these issues are resonant and they come about from past observances, past thoughts. They all kind of lead up. So somewhere in our life, this thought has been planted within our consciousness. Okay? And here I'm going to work on a word that we're dealing with these days. Interference. As we allow these thoughts to permeate our being, and if we allow the judgments that surround these occurrences to enter into our very consciousness, okay, then we have a tendency, whether we're aware of it or not, consciously or not, to allow the fear to enter in. And it will deposit itself in an aspect of our character, upon our emotions, and in our physical tissues. So that thing that you, okay, in the book of Job in the Bible, when things started happening to that life, Job said, the thing I have feared the most has come upon me. Fear, when it enters your tissues, will change or commit to the susceptibility of the DNA. So, let me break this down in these kind of terms. Say, for instance, I'll go with my natural health history as much as I know of it. Having a father who, my reported biological father, had issues with, I think, his blood vessels and heart. Of course, he was well into his 70s before he succumbed to much of the disorder. But it built up over the course of time. And so his other children remind me, okay, you know, Daddy had heart this and heart that, and had bad blood vessels and these sorts of things. And in my natural mother's lineage, there was susceptibility to high cholesterol and liver problems because of the high cholesterol and such. And so I kind of throw it out of my mind. I says, you know, I don't want any part of that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not having that. I am not having that. Okay? And now I'm understanding that in the process of kind of trying to war against that, I'm putting a lot of attention onto my fear of having that. So I'm focusing upon it. I'm thinking about it. Well, my mom had it, my dad had it, yada, yada, yada. And although I've proclaimed with all that is within me that I don't want to have any part of it, just that focus, that consciousness, okay, alongside what I watched them walk through for the difficulties in their life, okay, bring in the fear. And so now I'm working with a new concept. Well, it's not a new concept at all. I'm working with the awareness, okay? I read something in a book by Neville Goddard, and he was talking about the story about Daniel in the lion's den. Now, Daniel had been fed to the lions. And the reason he was fed to the lions, because they said they were trying to trap him up and say, we got to find some way to get rid of this guy. And somebody said, well, you know, he prays 3 times a day. I said, so we'll make a law against praying, okay? So somebody in our lives might have made a law against perfect health, okay? Created a disbelief in perfect health. But the story goes on that when Daniel was placed into the lion's den, although the lions had been starved for the purpose of devouring this man, when he was thrown into the den, they didn't do nothing to him. They went back and checked, went back and checked, went back and checked. Daniel was still alive. The lions were still ravenously hungry, but they didn't touch him. Why? Because Daniel went to prayer. He completely ignored the lions. He turned his back on the lions and turned his face toward God, Source, Love. And he prayed like he always did. He connected to that source, to that consciousness within himself, and gave no thought to the possibility of the lions devouring him. So, eventually, the guards came back and thought, this didn't work. They threw Daniel out of the lion's den, and as soon as they did, the lions ate them up. Okay? point. If we do not allow the fear to enter into our consciousness, when we turn our backs on that part of what is that reality, I want to say ignore it, but I don't want to misguide anyone, okay? So I won't say ignore it, I will say give it no power. Reach instead for the power of the consciousness, the Christ consciousness that is within you. And instead of speaking to the issue so much, speak to the consciousness with powerful affirmations of love, gratitude, and well-being. So your mantra becomes, I am healthy. I am so grateful for my health. I am so grateful for my overall well-being. I have more than enough. Love is my guide. Therefore, I have everything. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Becomes, love is my guide. I have absolutely everything. I have perfect health. I see myself healthy. I visualize self. I look at myself healthy. I add wealthy and wise because I'm healthy, wealthy, and wise. It's just, that's my mantra. And you put some faith behind those words. Now, faith behind those words means feeling, emotions. I get out here, as I will in a few moments. When I first came to the beach this morning, it was foggy and it's still a little bit cool, but now it's sunny. And in a few moments, I'm going to put this phone down and I'm going out in that water and I'm going to kick and play like a 6-year-old. I'm going to drop the zero. And I'm just going to be 6 years old, out there in the presence of pure love, reporting to the pure consciousness that is within me for all that I am grateful for. I'll probably be singing because I'm happy, because this makes me happy. I deal on a daily basis with people who come into me with issues for counseling, for healing, for answers, and I lean into spirit. And when they leave me, I know that they have hope. I can see the glimmer in their eye again. I can see the pep in their step. The color comes back into their faces and all these wonderful things. And then sometimes I find myself caught up in a little bit of the residue, wondering how they are, or wondering if this really happened, or I'll just think of them. And as soon as I think of them, I go right into spirit, because it's not mine to carry on. But because I have a heart of love for my fellow man, many times I will consider, and I'll in the attitude of just lifting them up in prayer, I kind of, in my reaching out, my concern goes over. And not that I fear anything for them, but I just kind of, I want to say maybe pick up a little bit of their load. And so for me, getting a mental health day, one day every week, I'm taking out from everybody, everything. I'm turning off the phone. It might be for only 2 or 3 hours, okay? And then I'll get back in the grind with everyone else because there's so many things to do. But I'll take that mental health time and I'll get out to nature. I'll leave the phone in the car, okay? I won't answer anybody. If the world comes to an end in that few moments, well, guess what? I couldn't do anything to change it anyway. So I get to out to nature and get in the presence of pure love, pure comfort, pure confidence, okay? And I get happy, and I get grateful, and I get healed, okay? And I let go of all of everybody else's stuff. And I think sometimes God says to me, what do you need today? And by that time, I'm saying absolutely nothing. Because love is my guide, and I have everything, including perfect health. I see myself dancing and moving and breathing and loving and healing and sharing joy. Yeah, totally. So how does that tie in with health and healing? Turn your back on the fear. Don't allow the fear to enter your consciousness. Turn instead to the Christ consciousness which is deep inside of you. Okay? The consciousness, the pure consciousness. Even the Bible says, if there be any virtue, if there be any good thing, think on these things. Okay? So the doctor report comes back and says, you have da 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 da. And I say, and you have do 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 do. I says, okay. And then I walk away from it. And I get in the presence of God. And I ask Spirit, first of all, is this something that I need to intelligently address on the physical side? And show me what I can do to assist. How do I take care of this body? Okay? I assure you, ask and it will be given unto you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be opened. Now, it's getting nice and warm. I'm headed into that water for my mental health day. And if you have seen me over the course of the last, I think it might have been 2 weeks since I've been out here, I'm letting all your stuff go, honey. Your load is too heavy for me. I'm going to cast all those cares upon the water. And I'm going to allow love to do what needs to be done. For you, for me, for our nation, for our planet, for the universe. Oh, I said for a couple of minutes. It lasted a little bit longer. I hope I have inspired you. That's about enough for now. Do remember, I love you all.